Welcome to the annual Global Press Conference on Environment and Tourism. The Global Press Conference on Environment and Tourism is an initiative of Health, Environment and HEY, in collaboration with Nigeria Hotel Association, Tourism Entertainment Associations in Rivers State, and Social Care. The vision is to secure the environment for sustainable human, economic, social development and progress. And the theme for this year's Median edition of HEY Global Press Conference is We Are the Environment and the Environment is Us. Today's press conference is aimed at engaging critical stakeholders on environment, public health, tourism, and hospitality to discuss and deliberate on critical issues affecting the environment, health, and lives, as well as share and document innovative ideas and strategies that would deliver sustainable solutions for the good of the human community.
To serve our Father's land with love and strength and faith, the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Mr. Eugene Wazi, Chairman, Nigeria Hotel Association, Leader Tourism Entertainment Associations, Rivers State, and the Chairman of the HEY Conference 2023, gave the welcoming address where he applauded the collaborative efforts of all key stakeholders and global citizens to achieve a clean, healthy, and safe environment. He further admonished that we must take action for a clean, safe, and sustainable environment for all, as custodians of the environment.
Environmental Society, Nigerian Environmental Standard and Regulation Enforcement Agency in Israel, Association of Environmental Lawyers, Association of Nigerian Rotary Club, Voice of Women in Nigerian Leadership Initiative and Environmental Health Officers, Registration Council of Nigeria, Environmental Health Officers, Registration Council of Nigeria, and among others. The theme of this year Median Conference edition, the theme for the year Median edition of HEY Global Press Conference is We Are the Environment, and the Environment is Us, which was informed by our understanding that as humans, we are one with our environment, and whatever affects our environment affects us. And contrarily, human negligence in addition to collaborative actions for economic benefit has put the environment at a disadvantage. It has caused negative impact in several ways, such as global warming, acidification, forcing and resource depletion, photochemical oxidation, human toxicology, and fresh aquatic pollution. Today's press conference aims at encouraging critical stakeholders in environment, public health, tourism, hospitality who are present here physically, and our global audience to discuss and deliberate on critical issues affecting environments.
Dr. Sidney George, Director, Environmental Health and Safety Department, Rivers State Ministry of Environment, pointed out the importance of keeping our environment safe as it is of great concern to the ministry as well as a constitutional duty. However, he also noted the difficulty of maintaining this constitutional responsibility due to the influx of industries and human traffic into Rivers State, Port Harcourt being a metropolitan city.
They are very much in support of the program today. What that key of today is concerned with is what we do in the ministry. As a ministry, as provided under Section 20 of the 1999 Constitution, we have vested the power to regulate our environment, our state environment. We have a duty to regulate the state land, the state air, the state waters. to ensure it is rendered safe for human habitation. Pursuant to this, the Rivers State government enacted the Rivers State Environmental Protection and Management Law of 2019. Earlier than that, the state had what is called the Rivers State Public Health Law of 1999. Before these laws were created, there were other laws that enabled the state government to ensure that our environment is kept in a good condition for our habitation.
Nosa Aigbedion, Zonal Director of NESREL, reaffirmed the vision of NESREL to have a clean and healthy environment for everyone. While we carry out our activities on the earth's surface and make profit in our businesses, that the environment will not be in any way undermined.
Matter of fact, before we were so named, we operated with some strength as FEPA, and it's government wisdom to also give us more responsibility and more work to do to ensure that while we carry out our activities on the earth's surface, on the environment, while we make profit in our businesses, that the environment is not in any way undermined. That is what we do, that is what we control. We regulate the environment in collaboration with the local government, the state, because the environment is a continuum. It's not a case of river flowing from rivers, rivers or oceans in river states has where it stops, another state where the other stops. The one flowing from here goes as far as Lagos, even to the global world. So it's a continuum. But within the confine of Nigeria environment, we want to ensure that what goes out of this environment is contained in terms of pollution and waste, and what we also receive is contained and regulated in terms of pollution and waste. So that the Dan Cocoa incident we had in 1988 is not repeated again in this country. That led to the formation of maybe FEPA and later the ministry and the agencies as we have today.
Representing Rotary Club Port Harcourt ECO Ephraim Wanikeze stated that health, environment and safety initiatives should be an intentional and sustainable activity.
And environment safety should be an intentional project, not just a celebration of press conference. In Rotary Club of Port Harcourt ECO, we have engaged in a number of environmental preservation, cleaning, remediation, safety, awareness within the Niger Delta. Our activities at Rotary, we pride ourselves on being very intentional in our projects. We don't just talk what we act. That's why we are a deliverable-oriented organization. Using the polio eradication as a case in point, we have done so much there, and we've reduced the polio disease infection to the nearest minimum, simply because we're intentional and sustainable. And by God's grace, and the help of club members, we have been able to treat over 10 million cases of polio around the world. So, environment and safety awareness is good, but it's not enough. Developing ways and pathways to help the environment in preservation is key, and being intentional about the projects. Oftentimes we've seen governments come up with, environmental preservation, urban renewal, and cleaning and the rest of it. And it won't be sustainable because of the change in administration, simply because there is no business case to it. In a project, there should be a business case. What do you aim at achieving with this project? What should be the deliverable? Then the scope is planned, irrespective of who is there. Everybody follows the planned scope, even when administrations change.
Any form of disposal, either by burning or burying it or flushing it down, still is an environmental problem. So what did we do? We decided to study further, and we discovered that we now have reusable pad. And we went for reusable pad. We got trained by Rotary Club of Port Harcourt ECHO. Actually, they've trained over 200 persons on how to make reusable pad. But I'm saying, I realized just here in the room that we have a lot of people that could collaborate. This information is not very common in the open space, and we keep on using it. So reusable pads now are now what people are trying to use. We are here for the Global Conference on Environment, Waste Management, Tourism and Public Health. And of course, we're from Rotary Club of Port Harcourt ECHO, so it actually speaks to our core thematic functions as a club.
So as a club, what functions do you do with respect to ECHO?
Oh, we've actually done amazing things. In fact, one of the things we did, we were the brain behind the largest suit conference that took place in Port Harcourt. And shortly after that, the governor swung up into action. Of course, I know there were other collaborative efforts from others, but we held a massive suit conference. We have also done a lot on flood management, like we went after those that were affected by the flood. We've had mangrove projects and tree planting. We have trained people on use of eco-friendly sanitary pad.
Okay, Rotary Club of Port Harcourt ECHO, as I said initially, we are intentional in what we are doing regarding the environment, and health. We've done so much in health, in helping reducing child and maternal mortality. Then in the environment, we've done a part of remediation within the Niger Delta concerning oil spillage. And we've done so much because health and environment are being married, they cannot be disintegrated. So we've done so much in this regard. The Rotary Club worldwide, that's international, by the help of their individual clubs, have managed the polio disease and brought it down to the barest minimum, and we are still managing it yet the more. So Rotary Club in general is an intentional club. We have projects and we are deliverable oriented. We don't just have projects for show. We have projects to get deliverables, and we've had a lot of deliverables. We've made so much impact in the area of environment and health, and we are still making impact.
Honorable Sir Chinyere Emmanuel Igwe of the Atlantic TV Network, ably represented by Bon Wuke, they emphasized stakeholders' underestimation of the media involvement in waste management sector.
Well, one thing about our partners to Hay recently came, our marketing manager introduced them to me and they're working. One thing we have to know about the media, most times stakeholders in the waste management industry, in environmental sector seem to underestimate the importance of it. I thank Hay for collaborating with us. And environmental enlightenment and public education through the media, you need to spend money. So all the money you spend in environmental whatever should also should have a budget for public enlightenment and education. Because you cannot manage or drive any environmental program without reaching the target audience. And that's where we stand as a media organization. Recently, I went to the dump site. We are doing a feature on waste management in Port Harcourt. I went to the dump site on Aba Road, on Airport Road, and we saw a lot of things. I saw truckloads of, waste. And those truckloads of waste were delivered by scavengers. And as they pick those unsegregated waste materials, it's a one big problem we have with waste management. All of us today should look back at ourselves questions whether we're doing well. We generate waste, we collect waste by segregating them, and we'll dump all of them at a place.
Mr. Taye Barango, Vice Chairman, Waste Management Association of Nigeria, noted that the private sector in Nigeria is not interested in the board, but who heads the board, and went further to stress on the need for professionals on the board to give good advice on how waste should be managed.
The waste management sector in Nigeria is not interested in who heads the board, but there will be need for professionals to be in that board as to give good advice on how waste should be managed, especially where we have the Nigerian Environmental Societies, we have environmental managers. They should be involved in giving of advice. And there is also the urgent need to adopt the polluter pay. The polluter pay. What does that mean? If you generate a waste.
Founder and MBM Sosokere Nomso Oporum advised all stakeholders that in order to promote public health, clean and sustainable environment, programs such as building sensitization on importance of environment, tourism, public health must be consistent.
And as okay, one of the things we try to do is to change public behavior around recycling, as well as encourage millions of people to have access to quality healthcare by not asking them to pay money, but allowing them to exchange their trash as a form of insurance premium. It's more like a barter system where you don't have to pay money, but you use your trash as a form of payment. Again, I've been listening to some things said by other stakeholders, like our very good distinguished colleague from NESRA, as well as from Rotary Echo, yeah. So coming from the business side, we look at some of these things in terms of business. We try to interpret them in business sense. If you look at the economic value and the market value of tourism in Nigeria, that's using statistical, for example, that's over $3.6 billion. That's about 3.5% of Nigerian national revenue Nigeria generates every year. If you put the side of health and the environment together, that's about $30 billion. That's generated from Nigeria in terms of waste, health, as well as tourism. But most of these things are interlinked. For example, if you look at tourism, as an average person, we generate household waste. Now, what happens to those wastes when we generate them? Sometimes we trash them either at the waterways, which end up blocking drainage systems, turning to breeding ground for mosquitoes. Mosquitoes of themselves are strong vectors for malaria. Malaria affects millions of people, pushing them back into poverty.
Professor S.C. Dike emphasized on the instrumentality of the legal system in the attainment of a clean and sustainable environment.
Profession, you know that, like it or not, from Plato to Marx, most people dislike law, but whether you like it or not, law is a very thorough instrument of a sane, clean society. I can't talk about environmental sustainability, development, and awareness without law. So law is important, and if we get it right legally, we'll get it right environmentally. You will agree with me that the issue of environment is captured in the concurrent legislative list. That enables even the local government, the state government, and the federal government to legislate, to regulate the environment. But the main precursor, the main cause of environmental challenges is energy, oil and gas that is controlled by the federal government. So how do you regulate oil and gas? The state governments are hamstrung. They lack the authority, the power to regulate the major cause of environmental pollution in Nigeria. The local government cannot even attempt it. And so what we're doing today is to see how we can move government to decentralize the regulatory problem caused by Section 251 of the 1999 Constitution that enables only the federal government to regulate this sensitive sector, being the oil and gas. Most of the energy causing agents are associated with oil and gas, electricity. And then the more you hit the regulatory power in the federal government, the more you deny the environment of sustainability and cleanness. So we are moving through law, through education, to ensure that there is sensitization. Coming together to strategize, coming together to collaborate is a good thing for the environment. It's a win-win for the environment because we have diverse orientations, diverse ideologies and perspectives of environment. But when we gathered today, we're able to see that the environment is we and we of the environment. It's our future, is our pride. And if we despoil it or allow any organization or industry to negatively deal with the environment, all of us will be vulnerable. We're all victims of mismanagement, environmental misfeasance. And that is why we have to rise to the occasion, not only to articulate our views here today, but to make sure our views are passed on to government, for government to come up with good policies, not only to protect human beings, but flora and fauna as well, because the animals are important, the plants are important, the space, the airspace is important as well. We need to protect it from pollution, from emission, and it is important we collaborate so that we can work together. When we do it separately, we fail, but together we can achieve environmental sustainability.
Professor Prosper Ayanwu restated the importance of collaborative efforts to realize a healthy, safe, and sustainable environment.
Clean up our environment. And as a body, came on board late last year when it was formed, when there was, I won't go into all the details now, but when there were some issues at the extension of the board. You all know that there was the House has been battling to have extension of the local content board itself. It went into fair school and then everything ended up. You're on the media, you know what happened in the National House. So an NGO and more of a pressure group was formed by some big tank, and they felt I should be the head of it. So I'm there. So get the local content of just not the oil and gas, because the local content in Nigeria, by law, is on oil and gas.
Mrs. Uche Chris Benjamin, Zonal Coordinator, Environmental Health Council of Nigeria, applauded the collective effort of organizations, all stakeholders, and Rivers State government to attain a clean environment as it would bring development to the state.
We wrote to the Hotel Association management for policy call this week because we saw that there is area of collaboration that we need to establish with the hoteliers. But then we found it difficult to go around the hotels one after the other until we came to Hotel Presidential to pay them courtesy call. We were able to know that they have an association and their head office is there. So we were linked to the president. And we wrote for this courtesy call. He asked us to come and join this program today. And seeing the key of the program, I said, this is exactly what we wanted to discuss with him. And today, here we are, registered with the council and licensed. That will give us the room to supervise their activities. I know that many people may not know who we are, but I think by now, many must have known us. And I'm glad to see all these organizations talking about environment and the health and safety.
Samuel Paul of the Stakeholder Democracy Network said oil and gas activities cannot be deliberated in isolation as all of the things we do in the environment has interconnected link with every component of life.
It has an interconnected link with every component of life. Whether you like it or not, that is what happens. How are humans exposed to certain toxicants and how animals pick them up and how that returns to the environment and all of that. I think One Health is a very important concept. My PhD thesis basically was on One Health, and it's interesting to know that everything about health is connected. So I'm glad that I was sent here to represent SDN, and we'll see how we'll continue to work for the good of the environment.
Sir Benson Friday Abu, immediate past chairman of the Waste Management Association of Nigeria, emphasized on the need for professionals in the waste management industry for sustainable benefits.
That those who political support and refuse to allow the private sector to drive the waste sector. And because government is involved in this, the collection of waste, people do not have value for waste in terms of payment. So you have your waste, you buy an item worth of possibly 100,000, and by the time you finish, you don't know how to dispose it. You don't know how people come, and you are paying a peanut. How do you drive professionals to actually come into this sector?
And mostly, we are the real people who manage this waste, but they don't know. They stay in the office and say they are waste management. We are the scavengers who pack this waste and recycle it. It becomes economy use. You see the ragolis on the street. If you watch the state now, there is no more ragolis on the streets. There is no more waterproof, all these leather, nylon on the streets. We send our boys to go and pick them, gather them. We have dumps where we take them to our dump and treat it. And again, this waste of a thing, we have used it to employ so many who are jobless. Some housewife who have nothing doing. We employ them to work in our dump and we pay them. There are some who pay 20,000 per week. There are some who pay 15,000 per week. So it's also helped us to create employment to the youths, the ones that can really work. If you say the northern people, mostly we use the northern people as our scavengers. Those guys that go with truck and take this waste. We buy those waste from them. If you buy waste 3,000 naira, you will make 300,000 naira profit from it. It's like, there's nothing that is like waste. Gas and oil, you can't compare it to what you make in waste. Nobody can employ me. You can't pay me my salary because of what I am getting from waste.
Executive Director TAV Media Victor Sioku raised the question of major concern to the stakeholders. How does these organizations manage these scavengers described as thieves, as their input to a clean, safe and sustainable environment cannot be undermined?
There's an attachment with these scavengers, okay? And I don't know which of these organizations can claim it out with respect to how they manage these guys. Because in most cases, they are being painted as thieves. How do we manage them? Because they are of great importance in this topic.
This smell. When I stand there, I will see people pass, go inside, go and discuss what you want to discuss, come out. But that thing that is smelling there, I don't know if a pregnant woman passes through that place where they pour that, the person will lose that baby. What are you doing concerning it? I can't stand it. I'm not pregnant. I can't stand it. I don't know, but I see people every day you pass through that place. You don't. The inspectors I know in the past. My mother used to own a restaurant when I live in the north. I was born and brought up in the north. When we see health inspectors, we run. We run. We ensure that whatever they need to inspect is put in place. But these days, when they see you, they are happy that they are coming. In fact, maybe I don't know whether they are preparing something because people are just matching. You are leaving everything up to look. You are just matching straight to one office. And I'm asking, what exactly are you inspecting? Because the things you have to inspect are all around you. You are not looking at it. You are just marching to an office to go and sit down and talk and then go away. What are you people actually doing? Can we begin to, blame ourselves for not doing our job before we now say that, okay, government needs to bring money or this or that? Can you go back to your work? When you go back to inspecting small restaurants, they will not expose our food. When you go back to inspecting these hotels, they will not be discarding waste the way they do. They will do it. Let's start from our little corner before we begin to blame the general public. Thank you.
And I stand to be quoted. Most of them, ask them how to dispose their wastewater, how to dispose their sewage. And I want to mention some prominent fast food eating joints in GRA. When the rain is falling, they discharge their sewage direct into the gutter. in GRA here. The same thing with their wastewater. And these people do this already. In fact, in their track record, I have personally gone to Rwama and Ministry of Environment. Now, let's have a track sheet for these people. And any day you evacuate waste, which company is taking your waste, what time, what is the, what they call it, waste, and all that. So that we monitor how most of the hotels, most of the fast food, don't evacuate their sewage or whatever they call it, wastewater. They discharge it directly to the gutter. And to worsen the matter again, household owners, the big houses have joined the same thing. If you go to Rumola here, close to my office, along the road, the same thing is happening. You see it channeled directly to the gutter. And these are, that's why what he has just said, not that you are not working, but what I see is a white painted sepulchral type of job. That is what I see. They go there, discuss with them, have a compromise, and they need to continue. The sanitary officers, we know those days, when they are coming, everybody begins to run. What has happened? What has gone wrong? Please, let's go back to the sanitary officers we used to know. Thank you.
Dr. Her Excellency Amsha was the head of her service. There was a committee set up to look at the responsibilities of Ministry of Health and Ministry of Environment. That committee came up with a resolution. The time came when, in a week, you see Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Health coming into a particular hospitality industry. We raised that question. Economic then gave a directive that Ministry of Health should do their work, while Ministry of Environment should do their work. That's that. We made further, as I read in if you go to the last page, you see encouraging our members to provide waste management law. We did that. And I believe that Dr. Sidney was one of it, who was able to give us professional advice. We see every hotel, every restaurant, every lounges, before we call them their parlor. So nice lounges now. And bars should have this logbook. I should have a registered vendor from Waste Management Association. It's on record. I quite know that a lot of hotels are complying. Who will say, but who enforces? The Ministry of Environment and Rwama have to do the enforcement.
My name is Kelvin Obunaya Maximus. I'm the convener of Health, Environment and You, and it's he. He is simply Health, Environment and You, and the focus is to bring stakeholders, to create awareness, to encourage people to take care of the environment, to ensure that the environment also takes care of them. And the theme of this global conference for environment, tourism, public health is we are the environment and the environment is us, because we cannot differentiate ourselves from the environment. And the idea is to encourage people, to encourage stakeholders to come up with ideas, solutions, ways on how to ensure that the environment is secured for us, is secured for our life, and people can be happy living happily.
What motivated you to this?
What motivated me is what I see around me, because I feel that the environment is part of us. So I looked at, as someone who also works within the environment space, yes, at Social Care. So what we do, we use recyclable waste to, provide health insurance. But I now looked at as within the environmental and tourism space, there's no platform that promotes or talk about the environment, talk about tourism consistently. So we came up with the idea, okay, can we not have a special program, partner with media organizations like TAF TV to ensure that people have this understanding or consciousness about what the environment is, the impact of the environment, and how that can work. And that's what motivated me to say, okay, let us have one in collaboration with esteemed media organization like yourself, which today's program, you made it possible for it to be a success. So that's what motivated me, and that's why, and we feel that this program will move beyond here. We're getting a lot of people involved, holding conference and event, and also attracting investment, because waste management is an industry. Waste is business. It's no longer a burden as it used to be. So our idea is to encourage people to look at waste as an industry, look at how we can ensure that we utilize our waste for other good purposes, and also ensure that our environment is clean and safe for all of us.